What's up everyone? Tiffany Quinn here with our posterior chain workout. Today we'll be firing up and strengthening your glutes, your hamstrings, the lats, and the traps with dumbbell strength exercises suitable for heavier lifts and targeted towards lean muscle development along the backside. Now remember that this is not exclusive to the lower back and core, as we will be recruiting these muscles to help us stabilize during exercises such as our Romanian deadlifts during our hamstring sequence. Now for equipment today, all you'll be needing is a set of lighter and heavier weights for both your upper and lower body. Feel free to play around and find what works best for you, but I will be going with my 15-pound and my 25-pound sets of weights. Our workout today will include a mobility sequence to start off with. This will be 4 minutes duration with our timer set for 60 seconds of a mobility exercise specific to the work we'll be doing, and then a 20-second transition phase between. After this, we have our 3 main strength circuits, starting with the lats and the traps, then working into the glutes, and then into the hamstrings. Our timer for this will be set for 60 seconds work with a 30-second rest between, which should give you plenty of recovery time to pick up your heavier weights and challenge yourself. Then we'll wrap the workout up with our 3-minute cool down, back to that 60-20 timer, and from there we finish things up. Now smash that thumbs up button for me, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and let's go ahead and do this. What's up everyone? Welcome back for our posterior chain workout today. Now before we get into our first circuit, I do want to urge you to go a bit bolder with the weights you've been using. We have 30 seconds recovery time between each of our strength exercises, which should give you enough time that you can make those last few reps of every interval extraordinarily challenging. So let's take advantage of that. Now our first section that we're going to start off with, we're coming to the center of our mat with our feet slightly wider than hip width distance apart, starting with mobilizing with specific exercises to warm up the areas we're going to be working into when we get to those weights. So starting with the hips, the hands are coming to chest center. I'll start our timer in just a moment. We're coming into a deep squat position, hinging forward to find a stretch along the hamstrings, keeping a bend in the knee if you feel any kind of pain behind it. Then we're coming into our upright squat once again and raising up through the heels. So we're working on the hips and a stretch along the hamstrings to start. Going in 3, let's get into it. In 2, in 1. I want those shoulders rolled away from the ears as I start our timer, which was apparently already started. So here we go again, and we are off to the races. Hands are at chest center, come into that deep squat for me. You do not have to go as low as I am. Find what works best for you. Hinge forward, find that stretch. Back into that squat and raising up. We're pulling down through the front hip tissue. Try to make it as deep as you can. Nothing that causes pain, though it might be a bit uncomfortable. Back into your upright squat and raise. Only 4 exercises, working into the hips first. Then we're gonna do the shoulders, the scapula, as well as the spine. And raise at your own pace here. If you need a little bit help with the depth, you can also elevate your heels on dumbbells or yoga blocks. Find what works best for you. One more time down. One more hinge forward. Squat back down and raise. It is unreasonably hot in here today. Okay, we're going into a Jefferson curl now, segmenting through the spine. So the hands are at the sides. We're going to start with spinal flexion, tucking the chin down, rounding through the upper spine, core tight, to the mid spine, and into the lower back. Try to reach down as far as you can. Once again, same thing with the knees. If you need to, place a small bend in them. Otherwise, trying to keep them straight. Back into your extension and tuck down again. Chin tuck forward. Segmenting vertebrae by vertebrae. Breathing throughout. Through the mid back, the lower back. Pause for that stretch at the bottom. And hold that spinal flexion as you round back up from the lower back, the mid back, the upper back. Shoulders away from the ears. Let's take it again. Tuck forward. Into your spinal flexion. Coming down, segment by segment, really trying to separate those areas in your mind. Up from the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, and let's take it one last time here. Slowly lower yourself to the floor, rounding forward and back into your extension, extending through the hip and the spine. All the way up, great job. Next up, we've got our shoulder cars. So I want you to be mindful of not allowing the shoulder blades to move. We're working through that shoulder joint. Hands are at the sides, externally rotated. Straighten the elbows out, keeping the arms straight the entire way through. Come up towards the midline into adduction. Overhead into your internal rotation. Come around. Now reach both hands up to the upper back area. Feel that stretch and extend back, overhead, into your external rotation, keeping those arms straight, all the way back down, fighting for more range with each rep, but staying in a pain-free range. Internal rotation, extension, bring it behind, keep the shoulder blades away from the ears. As you lift those hands to the upper back area, should feel a stretch along the traps. Back down, extension, external rotation, fight for more external rotation, incredible job. And let's do one more rep here and then go into our shoulder cars. Extension, mid-back reach, lower down, come around, into your external rotation and down. From here, our scapular cars, we're doing 6 reps in both directions. Palms are either facing or in fists. Keep those arms nice and straight, hands in line with the shoulder. Be mindful of this here. We're going to punch forward, elevate, retract back, depress down. Forward, elevate, retract, and down. Smooth it out. Up, back, and down. 3 more. Back and down. 2 more. Back and down. Great job. Last one this direction. And come to a stop. We're going to depress down, retract back, elevate, punch forward. Down, come back, elevate, forward. Now smooth it out. Up, punch forward. Come down, squeeze back, come up and forward. I believe 2 more. And forward. Last one. And lower those arms down. We're going to use these 30 seconds to get into our first position for circuit 1. This is going to work the lats and the traps. So I'm starting with my 25-pound weights here, and we're coming into a wide stance, although if you do prefer, feel free to go with our standard hinge row. Otherwise, follow along with me. So the feet are wide, we're going to squat down, hinge forward, relax the opposite elbow on the opposite knee, and the working arm, you want the hand in line with the shoulder, squeeze the core tight, back straight. On 1, we row up towards the waist and lower. Now, just as we had practiced before, we want to protract at the bottom and retract at the top of that lift. How does that feel? A little bit different, right? Squeeze up towards the waist and lower, allowing a bit of a stretch at the base. Squeeze up, retract back, come down, and a bit of a punch forward, never allowing the torso to dip. Squeeze up, you've got 30 seconds left. Keep going for me, I'm going to show you a trick. We went through this last week as well, but if you missed that one, the other weight can also be used for support if you wanted to cover more range as you lower that weight. Squeeze up, retract back, lower down. Now you've got more room here, and it might be more comfortable. Do what works best for you. Let's get 1 more rep in. Use that timer and lower that weight off. 30 seconds, straight over to the other side, and then we vary the same exercise. Starting to feel better? You never really get used to the humidity down here. Seriously, you should all come join me one day, and then you'll understand why I get so choked up. All right, we've got 8 seconds, either using that weight for support or simply relaxing the elbow across the knee. In 2 and 1, squat down, hinge forward, squeeze up, retract back, slow to lower, and down. Slight pause at the top. Depending on the size of your weights today, they might be less, they might be more. You might want to slow this one down. I'm here to guide you. But of course, make this workout your own and try your best to make it challenging. It's 30 minutes of the day. When you really think about it, it's not that much. Squeeze up, retract back, lower down, slight punch forward. Releasing some of that elastic energy and then bracing for that raise. Squeeze up and slow to lower. Clear your mind of anything else. We're just focusing on that strength. Getting pretty sweaty already. And let's get one more rep in there and then lower that weight down. This time, we are actually going to completely release that elastic energy by allowing the weight to come all the way to the mat. We're gonna take the hand off, back on, and then squeeze up. So we have to brace more for that lift and really build up tension to be able to raise the weight again. All right? Feel free to use that as support if you want. Just make sure that your back is straight throughout. Let's squat down, hinge forward, changing sides. We're gonna squeeze up to the waist, slow to lower, drop that weight off gently, hand off, hand on, and squeeze it up. Lower, hand off, hand on, row up, and lower. Hand off, hand on, row up, and lower. A little bit different, right? Feel for that strength. You're doing incredible. You've got 30 seconds left. Hand off, hand on. Squeeze up and lower. Hand off, hand on. We've got one more set of these to do on the other side. And then I promise we come to a standing position. Grin and bear it, baby. Let's go. Hand off, hand on, row up, and lower. Everything is controlled. We're not allowing that weight to fall. Hand off, hand on. Come on, give me one more row. And back down. I want you to make use of that timer. Make use of these 30 minutes. It's only 6 exercises per circuit. In 20 seconds, we go over to that other side. Shake things out a little bit. Enjoy your time standing. And in 10 seconds, we're going to squat down, back into our position. In 4, come down, hinge forward. 2, line that hand up with the shoulder. Shoulder drawn away from the ear, squeeze up, pause, lower all the way down, hand off, hand on, and row. And lower, hand off, hand on, and row. And lower. Come back down, hand off, hand on. Row, and down, hand off, hand on. Find your own pace, find your own beat. Find that inner zen that keeps you going. Any other voice, you tell it to shove off and on. Row and lower, hand off, hand on. 15 seconds. Do not give up. Make use of those 15 seconds. What are your thoughts right now? Are they useful? Squeeze up, lower down, hand off, hand on. I want one more. And lower, hand off, and it stays off. Okay, switching to our lighter weights. I'm using 15 for this. We're going into our upright rows, and we're going to combine this with thoracic rotation. So what I want you to think about throughout this is keeping the hips face forward. They don't shimmy from side to side. We're gonna rotate through the midline, the obliques, and the mid-spine. Hands are face down in front of the thighs. We row up, twist, come center and lower. Come up, twist, center, and lower. Slow and controlled. Not racing through it. Squeeze that core, squeeze the obliques. Up, rotate, center, lower. Leading up with the elbow, rotate, center, and down. Less than 40 seconds to go. And we're alternating. To the left and twist, to center and lower. Those hips are still forward. Press all the weight you have in your heels, not allowing the lower body to shift. Breathing throughout. Just up to chest level here. Squeeze up, rotate, center, and down. Center and down. 2 more. Last one. And down. And from here, we've got one more exercise. Now this time we're gonna be working with our elevation and depression of the scapula. Shoulder shrugs. We're working the traps and along the neck musculature. So we're gonna squeeze and contract and then depress down in 10 seconds. I recommend using your lighter ones for this, but if you've done these before, feel free to go a little bit heavier. Of course, you need to coach yourself a bit through this on what is going to work best for you based on your level of ability. Palms are faced in, we're squeezing up. Give me a good shrug like you don't know what's going on. Hold and depress down for 3, 2, 1, and shrug. 2, 1, and lower. 2, 1, and shrug. 2, 1, and lower. Feel the stretch and raise and contract and down and raise. Depress back down and shrug it up and lower down. 2, 1, and raise it up. 2, 1, and lower down. 2, 1, you're almost there. 2, 1, let's get 3 more. 2, 1, and lift. 2, 1, last one down. Hold that stretch and relax. We are now going into our second circuit. Just like that, circuit 1 is done. We're moving on to glutes now. Now for this one, we're doing another weight drop off pickup, but we're gonna be holding 2 weights. So one weight is gonna come to the shoulder. The other one will be held low, taking the feet wide and out to about a 30-degree angle here. When we have this weight center, be mindful not to let your shoulder come up or forward. We want it drawn away from the ear. Come down, drop that weight off slowly and gently, and back up into your raise. Down, lift up, squat down, and raise. Keeping the torso tall. It's gonna make it harder. You'll have to squat a bit deeper to let that weight off. And lift, come down, and raise. Come down, and lift. Come down, knees wide and up. Torso tall, chest is lifted. And raise. Come down, pick it up. And raise. And up. And raise. And up. Incredible, we're almost there. Another 4. And 3. And 2. One more drop off and relax. Same thing, switching sides. So if you had that weight on the left shoulder, now it's going to the right. Drop off and pick up. Like that old commercial, I pick things up and put them down. Simple as that. Not quite. Maybe a little bit. All right, in 8 seconds, let's go ahead and get those weights in hand. 1 to the shoulder, 1 at center. Pulling down with the anterior hip tissue in 2 and 1. Lower down, knees are nice and wide. And raise. Down, pick it up. Come down and raise. Thinking about squeezing those glutes to raise you up. And up. Hip flexion, hip extension. Doing incredible. 35 seconds left to go. We only have to go through this once. And again, it's only 6 exercises per circuit. We're already through number 2. So you're about to hit halfway. And up. Lower, drop that weight off. And raise. Come down as low as you can. And pick that baby up. Don't allow the shoulder to come forward. Upper body isn't rocking or dipping. And raise. Last time. Last drop. And lower. Okay. Going into our standard sumo squat. This time, adding a hinge variation to it to work more of the hamstrings. You have 20 seconds. You can go with your heavier or lighter weight here, just 1. Take the feet wide. And we're going to hinge forward this time into our sumo deadlift squat. raise, lower that weight, and up. Let's go. Pick it up, raise, drop it off, and up. Back straight throughout. Chest is lifted, shoulders drawn away from the ears. You're a fitness expert. Your form is incredible. You're not ever letting it go off. The core is tight, your back is straight. You're feeling a burn in your glutes and your hamstrings. And you have a reason to keep going. What is that reason? Think about it. Are you being strong for your kids? Are you being strong for yourself? Do you need the adrenaline or the mood boost? Or you want that muscle? And raise. Everyone has a reason. Even if you're in maintenance mode, that's also a reason. Pick it up, lower down, drop it off, and raise. Lower down, drop it off, and raise. Let's pick it up one last time, and you have your 30-second rest. Woo, baby. 3 more exercises. Your favorite lunges. So we're doing 30 seconds of our static lunges, followed by 30 seconds of our step to reverse lunge. In 15 seconds, you can go with one weight or both. If you are not in a sauna of a basement right now, I would encourage you to grab both weights. In 3, 2, find your lunge stance and your balance. Down into that lunge and up through the heel. Controlled movements. Front knee staying behind the toes, staying upright in the torso, hips are both facing forward. You're a quarter of the way through, and you only have 10 seconds left before we go into step lunges. Great job. Now come down and step forward. Splitting that movement into 2 makes them go by a little bit faster, but now we're working more on balance and the strength factor. No rush. Focus on something that isn't moving in front of you to help with your balance. Last lunge, raise up, and we switch to the other side. Our last exercise of the circuit will be alternating. Oh my goodness. All right, it's one of those sweaty eyelash days. Oh yes. 15 seconds. Then we hit hamstrings, which is going to be my favorite circuit out of this workout, of course. Save the best for last. In 5, 4, 3, 2, find your balance into your static lunge and raise. If you need help with your balance here, you can also take that stance a bit wider. It will help. And up. And up. Pressing up through the glute, through the heel. Hip flexion, hip extension, tall torso. Last 3. And 2. On 1, we step up, back into that reverse lunge. And raise. And raise. Find that beat. You need that second burst of energy. It's coming. But we have to get through these first. And you don't always want to skip the exercises you don't like, because sometimes it just means you need to practice them. Step back and up. Last one. And raise. Okay. 30-second rest. Alternating reverse step lunges with both of your weights. If you do so, please. Just kidding, that's what I would like you to do. 20 seconds. I am pouring sweat. Pouring. It's about to rain, isn't it? I just know it. Gets so crazy bad down here. I got lucky the last few weeks. Going in 5, 2, 1. Alternating reverse step lunge. To the right and up. To the left and up. Take your time. I want you to think about your balance here, not so much about how many reps you can get in. Try and take the same width of your stance at the top with each one. Keep your mind busy. Don't let the knees slam into the mat. It's slow, it's careful. And up. And up. 20 seconds left. There we go. Last 4. And 3. Heart rate up yet? 2. Give me 1 more. Lift up and come back to the center of your mat. Whew. Okay. So next up, we've got hamstrings to cover. I am going to go ahead and grab my 2 25-pound weights, coming into a narrow stance on the mat. Feet are face forward, in line with the hips. We're painting down the front of the body. Let's go. Weight in the heels. Slow to lower and slow to raise. Shoulders are away from the ears, following the eye gaze forward. 2, 3, and up. 2, 3. Flexion through the front hip tissue. Pulling yourself down and raising up, pushing yourself back up. 3, 2, 1 to lower, and 3, 2, 1 to raise. Brace that core tight. You've got 30 seconds. And up. 2, 3, and lower. 2, 3. Finding that stretch in the hamstrings, just like we did when we started. Breath out as you come down, breath in on the way up. And raise, let's get 1 more rep in. And raise, great job. Okay, now we are going to go into our palms in row combined with that same deadlift. So go ahead and grab a slightly lighter set. I want you to be able to brace your core tightly. Shoulders rolled away from the ears. In 10 seconds, we're coming down. Weights are horizontal with the palms in into our bent over row. Back down and raise. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Palms in, row, lower, raise. Nothing is jerky, everything is smooth, controlled. Find that inner strength. Find that last burst of energy. You know you have it in you. Squeeze up, lower, palms down to raise. Squeeze up, lower, and all the way back into your extension. Still breathing throughout. Remember to breathe. Remember to keep the chest tall and lifted. Eye gaze forward. Stopping at the end of your hip rotation might look different from mine. It's okay if you stop at the knees or at the shins. 10 more seconds. 2 more reps for me. Let's get that last one. Row, lower, and up. All right, in 30 seconds, now we're going to vary it with single leg deadlifts. And 1 row, this time horizontal. So we're gonna have both weights in hand. Palms are facing down to start. Take a step back on the right, come down, row left, lower, up, switch. Come down, row right, lower, raise, switch. Let's go. Heels lifted on the back leg, balance through the front, squeeze up into that horizontal row, and raise, and switch. Lower, row back, and down. Core tight. Row, lower, slow to raise, and switch. Slow to raise, and switch. How do you like that combo? If you're using very light weights, you can definitely take this a bit faster. Just being mindful to keep your core nice and tight, and the back is straight the entire way through. Pressing the hips out away from you. Weight in that front heel each time you come down into flexion. Squeeze, lower, raise. Squeeze, lower, last time up, and lower those weights for the moment. 3 more exercises to go. This time, single leg Romanian deadlift. Same thing without that row. So we're just going on the one side with one weight, lowering and coming back up. 15 seconds. It is brutal. It is brutal. I gotta show you. Look. Sweaty disaster. Okay. Going in 5, 4. I'm gonna go with that heavier weight. Might as well, if I'm already this sweaty, on 1, take a step back on the right, heel is lifted, weight is dispersed into the front heel and up. Be mindful not to arc your back here. Hips out and away, like you have a beach umbrella behind you. You're trying to tip it over so that that guy you think is cute on the beach will look your way and say, man, she has great glutes. And I have no chance. Shoulder away from the ear, eye gaze forward, find that burst, find that wind of energy, it's in there. I know it is. And raise. And raise. More than halfway through now. 2 more intervals to follow, then we've got a cool down. 2 more. And up. Last 1, 2, 3, and up, 2, 3. If you'd like, go ahead and get 1 more in there. And we've got 2 more intervals to go. You are so far past the halfway point, so far past the 3/4 done. Just finish off those final 2 intervals. Be the person that finishes that workout. You'll feel a lot better every time you do, even if you're in a sauna. I am so lying, but I still feel better once it's done. All right, in 4, grab that weight. 3, 2, shoulder away from the ear. On 1, 2, 3 to lower and up. 2, 3 to raise. So lower and raise. And up. Breath out through the mouth as you lower. Brace that core. Breath in through the nose as you come into extension. You're pulling yourself down with the front hip tissue. The upper body comes forward. There's a micro bend in that knee. Slow to lower, slow to raise. Feel that tension, build it up. Work for it. Show yourself what you're made of for these last 2 intervals. And raise. And the last one is our only exercise on the mat today. And raise. Whew. And up. Come on, last one. All that weight is in that front foot. Make it your best rep. And up. Okay, weights can go to the side. We are finally done with the weighted exercises. We are now coming down to the mat into a lying position. We're going to dig the heels in from our bridge position that we would normally do. Hands are at the sides for support. Relax yourself down. Lift those hips up. Posterior, tuck the hips forward towards the chin. And in 3, 2, we're working the hamstrings. On 1, we walk it out for 4, 3, 2 to full extension and in. 2, 3 and pause. Reset the hips and out. 2, 3, full extension and in. 2, 3, pause, reset. Out. 2, 3, full extension and in. 2, 3, pause, reset. Switch the leading leg. Out. 2, 3, full extension. In. 2, 3, and pause. Out. 2, 3, full extension and in. 2, 3, and pause. 1 more. 2, 3, full extension and in. 2, 3, reset. Walk it out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. Hold. Hands up if you want this to be the hardest it's ever been. Stay here for 3, 2, walk it in and lower on down. There is a pedal on the mat. We now have, very simple, our 3-minute cool down. All right, everyone. So we're coming into our quadruped position now. We're gonna work through the shoulders. So that hand is gonna be palm in with a thumb up. In 8 seconds, we're going to switch 30-30 each side. Coming up, externally rotated to start, overhead, into your internal rotation, reach to the upper mid back, extend, and back around. Lift up, internal rotation at the shoulder, reach for the mid upper back, extend, and back around. Incredible. How are we feeling, everyone? And back down. Let's get one more. Reach up, lower that hand down, over to the other side, starting from external, up towards the midline, internal rotation, reach to the mid-back, extend, external rotation, and down. Lift, internally rotate, reach to the mid-upper back, extend, and back down. Last time, reach, extend, come overhead, and back down. Our last exercise, we're staying in this position, working on our hip cars, controlled articular rotations from our quadruped stance. The hands are stacked with the shoulders, knees are stacked with the hips. Place a flex in that left foot. On 2, on 1, we're starting with a donkey kick back, external rotation out to the side, adduct down towards the midline, and bring it back up into hip flexion, out to the side, internal rotation towards the midline, and back down. Kick back, externally rotate, into adduction, stack forward, into hip flexion, try to get more flexion here, out to the side, into abduction, internal rotation, to the midline, stack forward, kick back. And just repeat this. Come forward, out away from the body, nothing else is moving, just that leg through the hip. Last time to kick back, out and away. Fight for more flexion, towards the midline, stack, and lower down. All right, great job. We have the other side to cover, but for these 20 seconds, toes together, knees wide, sit back, reach, and just hold here a second, enjoy that stretch. And bring it back up. And once again, drop that booty down to the heels, extend the arms, and lift back up over to the other side in 3, flex the right foot, 2, and 1. I'm gonna flip around for you, starting with our donkey kick back. Both hips stay facing towards the mat. Kick back, open wide, towards the midline, stack the legs, back into hip flexion, open wide, into your internal rotation, towards the midline. Yes, this gets a bit shaky. Come forward, donkey kick back, external rotation, hip flexion, and down. 2 more reps, both directions. And lower, stack it forward, back into extension, not allowing the back to arc. Back towards the midline, stack the feet, back into hip flexion, out and away. Internal rotation towards the midline, come down and relax those legs, those booties, those shoulders, those traps. How did that feel? That was a tough one. I gotta be honest with you. It is very bad down here today, like hard to breathe bad. So I am gonna go shower since I am now basically in ocean. My mat is soaked, my eyelashes are soaked, but it felt really good. I really enjoyed the strength training. I really loved the exercises. I was looking forward to this one, even though it's rough down here. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you got a lot out of this one. All right, everyone, see you later. Thanks for joining me for our workout today, everyone. Now, before you go, I did just want to say a quick thank you for joining me for our workouts, for liking the videos, for commenting, for sharing your enthusiasm for me and the progress that you've made throughout our workouts together. Seeing all these things from you does help keep me motivated, as much as I motivate you with my words during the workouts, the tips, the cues, and just the overall energy. So I did want to say thank you. If you haven't yet, be sure to thumbs up the video for me, subscribe to the channel if you didn't yet, and be sure to turn your notifications on for next week's quads and core AMRAP workout. We'll be using our adjustable bands for the finisher on this one, as well as our yoga blocks. Keep in mind, if you don't have any yoga blocks at home, you can also elevate your heels using thicker books, or you can simply go without them. And also using the dumbbells for heel elevation is another option. So feel free to get creative as we get to this one next week. All right, everyone, I hope you have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you for the next one.